Blur's friend named Verlinda Hamilton and point the gun to her head and smile, and that's when he would pull the trigger. But the gun never fired because he had emptied the...
Gangster, bro. If that ain't gangster, I don't know what gangster is, bro. You know what I'm saying? See, a lot of us, bro, we want to celebrate gangsterism until gangsterism happens, bro. Now, I ain't gonna lie, bro. I ain't got nothing to do with nothing, bro. But Gustavo, bro, for him to stand over in... If I was banging folk, I would want Gustavo on my team. Man, what poppin', man? Bro, we on the road, gang. We on the road, man. We getting to the young, folk. We getting to this money, no cap, man. But y'all on, though, man. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video, man. I go by Dunn. If you new, you know what to do, man. This is my second reaction channel. Make sure y'all tapping on my main reaction channel, King Dunn Reacts. I also got a vlogging channel, Dunn Corner. And my baby got a channel, Corner Mate, so tap in where you fit in, no cap. But, hey, we got to talk about this right here, man. So, shout out Boys in the Hood TV, man, for the content, man. Y'all make sure y'all go sub they channel. We need to get down to 20K right now. But also make sure y'all sub my channel, too, man. I got to get to 3K. Got to get to 3K, 10K, we on the way, 100K plat 2026, no cap. But, hey, man. We gotta tap into this documentary, bro, because I felt like I wanted to react to this, man, because these are two gangs from Chicago that I feel like don't get a lot of notoriety, bro. You dig? And they are dangerous gangs, bro. And they've been beefing and warring for a long time. But since the BDs and the GDs, you know what I'm saying, I think they kind of take, preference when it comes to the Chicago gang war and Chicago gang beef because they got a lot of famous members. You know what I'm saying? You really don't know too many famous vice lords from the rack or famous vice lords, period. And you don't know too many famous Latin kings from the rack or famous Latin kings, period. So I just wanted to just tap into this, bro, so I can get a little knowledge about the Latin kings and the vice lords, man. Because they say they been beefing for a minute, folk. I'm talking about they say bodies been dropping for a minute on that side. So, and ain't nobody really been talking about it like that, man. You know what I mean? The GDBD war done took over, man. So, I want to see what's cracking with the Vice Lords and the Latin King, folk. And if any of y'all from the rack, tap in. Even if you a Vice Lord, Latin King, what happening, man? But we going to get into this documentary, though, man. One time, man, y'all make sure y'all sub it up, like it up, comment section below to y'all, so comment. Now let's tap into it, man.
Today we tapping into the streets of Chicago, and we're going to be talking about the violent war between the almighty Latin Kings and the Vice Lords. Now, this war was a back-and-forth war where both gangs took losses on both sides. But for today's video, we're going to be focusing on 3 cases to be exact. Now, the Latin Kings originated in the 50s, but in the 60s, we would see the birth of the almighty Latin King nation, headed by King Freddie, who ran Ohio, and Kedzie, and King Phil, who ran Levitt and Schiller. Eventually, the Kings will go on to be one of the most dangerous gangs in the streets of Chicago. And on the opposite side, the Vice Lords, with OGs like Edwin Pep Perry and Maurice Miller. Now, this gang, just like the Latin Kings, would eventually grow to become one of the most dangerous gangs in the streets of Chicago. And eventually, these two gangs cross paths, and there will be a violent war. On June 27, 1971, 16-year-old Vice Lord named Glenn Blur, along with his sister Teresa, his cousin Nate, and 2 friends were walking near the corner near Levitt and Potomac. As they walked, a 16-year-old named Gustavo Colon, a.k.a. Hercules, and Florentin Menendez.
No, that was a bad man. They named that boy Hercules, cool. They named that boy Hercules. That boy was a bad man. Hey, why ain't nobody never talked about this war, though, cuz? Why, when you hear about Chicago violence, you don't really be hearing about Latin Kings and Vice Lords. Like, it's always BD, GD. Like, I don't know. I know them Latin Kings probably, boy. I don't know, gang.
Where 2 Latin Kings approached the group. Now, Gustavo was armed. When Menendez saw Blur, he yelled out, "Shoot that black motherfucker." And immediately, Glenn started running. That's when Gustavo pulled out his strap and opened fire. Blur was shot and he would collapse on the ground. And that's when Gustavo would stand over him and shoot him 3 more times as he laid on the pavement. Right after this, Gustavo would then walk over to Blur's friend named Verlinda Hamilton and point the gun to her head and smile, and that's when he would pull the trigger. But the gun never fired because he had emptied the clip on Glenn Blur. Gustavo and Menendez would both flee the scene. Teresa and the group would then go run to get help.
Hold on, folks. So you telling me he was finna nail all on, but he decided not to because
pulled out his strap and opened fire.
Well, really, he didn't decide not to. He just didn't do it because he basically didn't have no more bullets. Man, that crazy as hell, bro. That crazy, gang.
Blur was shot and he would collapse on the ground. And that's when Gustavo would stand over him and shoot him 3 more times as he laid on the pavement. Right after this, Gustavo would then walk over to Blur's friend named Verlinda Hamilton and point the gun to her head and smile. And that's when he would pull the trigger. But the gun never fired because he had emptied the...
Gangster, bro. Bro, if that ain't gangster, I don't know what gangster is, bro. You know what I'm saying? See, a lot of us, bro, we want to celebrate gangsterism until gangsterism happens, bro. Now, I ain't gonna lie, bro. I ain't got nothing to do with nothing, bro. But Gustavo, bro, for him to stand over and... If I was banging folk, I would want Gustavo on my team. No cap.
On Glenn Blur, Gustavo and Menendez would both flee the scene. Teresa and the group would then go run to get help. Police and EMTs would arrive, and Blur would be transported to St. Mary's Hospital, where he will be pronounced dead. Now, while at the hospital, police would question the teens, but only Blur's cousin, Nate, would ID Gustavo as the shooter. He would tell the police that he knew Gustavo by his street name, Hercules, and also that he was a member of the Latin Kings. Now, only a few days later, Teresa Blur, Hamilton, and Taylor would also ID Gustavo as the shooter. As the police continued their investigation, they would put the pieces together, but it would not be until August 20th of that year that detectives would arrest Gustavo for the murder of Glenn Blur. Now, during the trial, Teresa, Hamilton, Taylor, and Nate would all testify to the jury that Gustavo was the shooter. They would also state that Menendez was the one who pointed to Blur right before Gustavo shot him. Also, Detective James Acosta would testify that he saw both Menendez and Gustavo in the area the night of the shooting. The defense would allow Gustavo to take the stand and testify. Gustavo would claim that he was at his mother's house the entire night.
I ain't gonna even care. I think that's the worst thing that a defendant can do is take that stand, bro. I do get it, though, because you want to clear your name. You know what I mean? But I'm going to be real, folks. If I'm guilty, folks, I don't want to get on that stand. Because the prosecution might eat your ass up, man. Hey, look at Alec Murdoch. They slaughtered Murdoch. I think Murdoch was going to get time either way. But, yeah, I don't think I would have. Especially if a detective saying, bro, I saw you right there, gang. I saw you, bro. And you like, it was not me. I get that how Latin King talk. Hey, man, I'm sorry. And then to get the Latin King. I don't want no problem with no Latin King. I apologize for that. What you call it? Imitation? I don't know, but I apologize. So, man, all right, let me watch the reaction.
We're having a celebration for his brother who had just returned home from the army. Now, friends and family will corroborate Gustavo's alibi, but Gustavo's brother, Jose, would state that he was not in Chicago or anywhere near his mother's house the night of the shooting. But in fact, he was at his father's house in Brooklyn, New York. He also stated that he didn't come back to Chicago until the day before.
Why would his brother say that? Because he said he was in... That's crazy as hell, bro.
His brother was arrested in August. And by the end of this trial, Gustavo Colon, a.k.a. Hercules, will be found guilty of murder, and he was sentenced to 30 years to 60 years in prison. Now, Gustavo will go on to be the head of the Latin Kings from behind bars. And only 24 hours right before his release, he will be charged with running a drug empire from behind bars. Now, this violence between the vice lords and the kings will continue throughout the 70s up until the 80s. And in 1989, the Vice Lords will kill a Latin King member known as Happy from Kedzie and Cortez. Now, only a few years later...
Man, how you kill somebody named Happy, man? How you unalive somebody named Happy, bro? Like, for his name to be Happy, I don't know. He was a gangbanger, so his name probably was Happy, but he probably was mad as hell every time you saw him, bro. Crazy work.
After Happy's murder, on October 6th of 1992, at around 8 p.m., a group of Latin Kings would drive near the corner of Levitt and Diversey Avenue. Inside the truck was David Ramos, Jose Colon, Jerry Davy, Ramon Figueroa, and Jose M. Kings noticed a group of Vice Lords standing at the corner, and Jose M. would roll down his window and yell out, "What's up?" And that's when one of the Vice Lords yelled out, "Get the shit." And Alfred Porter would reach into his car and pull out his gun. He would then point it at the Latin Kings and open fire on their truck. He would let off 2 to 3 shots, hitting Davey in the arm, who was driving the truck, causing him to lose control and crash to a nearby dumpster. Jose Colon was also hit by gunfire, but Jose M. was killed instantly by gunfire. Figueroa and Ramos were the only 2 not shot in the truck. Of course, immediately after the shooting, the Vice Lords would flee the scene. Now, the following day, Ramos, Davey, Jose, and Ramon would pick Porter out from a photo lineup, stating that they recognized...
I know they ain't rat, bro. Come on, man. Let street business be street business, man. They say folk been ratting, bro. But I don't know, man. It's crazy. I ain't no street guy, and I really don't like rats. To be honest. And what I call a rat, I feel like, okay, like me, I feel like I can't be a rat. I'm a civilian. So if something happened to me and I call the police, bro, that's my right. But I feel like when you know what I'm saying, decide you want to jump out the porch and be a street guy, you don't have the right to call the police no more. You know what I'm saying? So if you decide to exercise your right, bro, that you think you have, you're a rat. When you in the street, you supposed to let street business be street business, and you handle street business how you handle street business, bro. You don't go pick nobody out no line up, bro.
From the neighborhood. Now, Davey would go on to tell officers that he knew Porter's girlfriend, whose name was Williams, and that was likely where they could find him at. Not long after,
well, he told
Alfred
everything.
Porter would be arrested for the murder of Jose M. Now, during the trial, the men would once again ID Porter, this time in front of a jury, as the gunman during the night of the shooting. But the defense would present a witness who would claim that Porter was not the shooter. But even with this claim, it would not be enough to convince the jury otherwise. By the end of the trial, the jury would convict Porter of first-degree murder and 4 counts of attempted murder. Porter was sentenced to 90 years in prison.
Yeah.
And to this day, Alfred Porter stands by that he's an innocent man. Now, the violence will continue on between the Kings and the Vikings.
90 years? 90? Bro, let's just say he was 20 when they got him, right? He gonna be 110 when he get out of jail.
Lords. And in 1993, the Latin Kings would kill a vice lord named Romero, who was not Hispanic but a black man who slept in his apartment on Potomac and Spartan. Now, this same year, on October 6th, at around 3 a.m., a vice lord named Anthony Douglas pulled up to a BP gas station on North Avenue. Douglas would get out the car wearing a Blue Devils shirt, and that's when moments later, another vehicle would pull up right in Douglas' path. And inside that car were a group of Latin Kings. And one of the men would roll down the window and ask Douglas if he was a disciple. And Douglas would simply reply, "This vice lord." And that's when all the car doors would open up and several Latin Kings get out the car. Douglas immediately started running.
He run his set, though.
Who pull out straps and start shooting toward Douglas. Douglas was hit multiple times as he fell and collapsed to the ground. Also nearby, laying on the ground, was Vernon Meadows, who was trying to avoid being shot. But once the shooting did stop, one of the Kings yelled out, "Witness." And that's when the Kings shot at Vernon, who was struck by gunfire in his arm as he still laid on the ground. Afterwards, the Kings got back in the car and fled the scene. The police would arrive moments later to find Anthony Douglas dead. Vernon Meadows will be taken to a hospital and treated for his injuries and eventually be released. Now, upon being released, police would question Vernon about the shooting, but when he was shown photos, he would not identify anybody.
Keep it straight, my boy. Keep it gangster, man. He already knew what type of time they was on. He knew what type of time he was on. He was like, man, hey, come on, I already know who did it, bro. I don't know who did it. But hey, we finna go slide, though.
In the photographs. But only 2 days will go by, and Vernon will go back to the police station and identify a Latin king named...
God damn, Vernon! Spoke too soon, bro. I gave Vernon too much credit too soon, man.
Jose Cruz. Police would eventually arrest Jose Cruz, and while in custody, Jose Cruz would admit to being a Latin king, but denying being a part of any murder. But sometime later, Cruz would be indicted by a grand jury for murder and attempted murder. And 2 years later, Cruz would go to trial for murder. Now, during the trial, Vernon Metters would once again testify, this time in front of a jury, that Cruz was absolutely the shooter who killed Douglas. An officer who questioned Cruz would testify also that Cruz admitted that if he did in fact see a disciple in a Latin king hood, he would definitely kill them or do whatever it takes to get him out of there. But still, Cruz stood by his word that he was not the shooter. Now, with having an eyewitness to the murder, this would lead the jury to convict Cruz of murder and attempted murder. And Cruz was sentenced to 90 years for the murder and 30 years for the attempted murder. Now, the following year,
that's 120.
The murders will continue. The vice lords will go on to kill a Latin king named Flaco as he laid in his bedroom with his girlfriend. Now, of course, the retaliations continued on after this. Back to Jose Cruz, Jose continued to fight his case and maintain that he was innocent. And in 2022, Jose Cruz would be released from prison.
Today, Jose Cruz is held tightly by his sister after leaving Stateville Prison. Police and prosecutors believed the now disgraced former Chicago police detective Reynaldo Guevara. There are more than 50 cases connected to Guevara, and so far about half have been thrown out. Guevara is retired and has not been charged.
But I'd like to thank everybody for tapping in, and I'll see y'all next time.
I ain't gonna count. That messed up that, you know what I'm saying, like he ain't been charged and probably a lot of false accusations laid at his hand, but I don't know, man. Old boy said that he saw Cruz do that, so I don't know. That's a crazy one right there, though, bro. One thing I got from this video, man, that I can give to y'all, though. When it comes to going to jail, bro. Or when it comes, like, hey, man, ain't nobody, hey, man, folk finna rat, bro. You know what I mean? Folk, not even going to jail, because they kind of ratted on their enemies, bro. Like, I'm not gonna lie. These YNs and these steppers who, these days, they really ain't really ratting on the enemy like that, bro. They would rather catch their enemy and do something to them like that. They more ratting on their partners. You know what I'm saying? Say like if they get caught, they more saying like, okay, Cujo was with me. You know what I'm saying? But if somebody from a rival gang actually shoot at them, they probably ain't gonna tell that because they would rather have that body. You know what I'm saying? Other than have them locked up, they would rather have that body. Some of them. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, man, the street, y'all know the motto, man. The street's dead. Streets is a myth, bro. It ain't nothing good going on in the streets. So if you still in the streets, bro, then something wrong with you, man. Go get you a career, man. Do something else with your time, man. Don't worry about that get back. Let God handle that. You feel me? But yeah, man, I honestly never really heard anything about the Latin Kings or the Vice Lords. That's why I wanted to bring it to the channel. So y'all let me know, like in the comment section down below, man, what y'all know about the Latin Kings and the Vice Lord. Or is the Latin King and the Vice Lord beef, is that more violent than the GD-BD beef? Is it the same or what? Like, ain't no more Latin Kings and Vice Lords? Like, I just want to know. You know what I'm saying? Because I plan on going to Chicago, man. I need to know the politics, man. Because I ain't trying to just be in the suburb. I ain't trying to just be downtown. I want to hit the block. You smell me? No cap. Yeah, but y'all let me know how y'all feel about this one, folks, in the comment section down below, man. Don't forget to like that video. Don't forget to sub it up. Make sure you ring that bell. I ring that bell. Make sure y'all hit all so y'all don't miss none of these bang, folks. Smell me? I need that 3K, man, and I need that 10K, man. That 100K plat, we getting that 2026, no cap, because we gonna work hard as hell. So we don't get it, I ain't gonna even speak that. We gon' get it, you feel me? More life or no life. Mark well, no way, man. I know how we coming. OTM, we getting it straight out the mud. I go by done. I love y'all, and I'm gonna catch y'all on the next video. Let's get it. You know we got the streets, nigga. We got the trap, too. I say my trap doing numbers, I just bust another jewel, got a player around the corner, hey. I say my trap doing numbers like that 05 summer, got a quarter pound on me, hey. The trap, doing numbers, the trap.